Human Cowboy brought an alien Dragonling to the rodeo that he saved but won't stop talking. Beginning. Dust rose in lazy spirals across the cracked plains of New Texas, a planet that wasn't Texas at all, but had been named by the first settlers who missed the dry wind and wide skies of Earth. It was a place of herds and outlaws, plasma pistols slung low at the hip, and long days where the twin suns beat down until a man could feel his bones creak from the heat. Jed Callahan was a cowboy through and through, hat tipped low, boots caked in red dust, and a voice roughened by whiskey and desert storms. He'd seen more than his fair share of strange things since humankind started colonizing the stars, but nothing quite like what he found in the canyon that day. It was supposed to be a simple errand. Ride his grav horse scout across the West Ridge, check on the ranch's border fences, and head back before sundown. But instead of rustlers or busted coils, he found something that made him stop cold. Down in the gully, tangled in thorn vines, was a creature. Small, no bigger than a calf, but its scales shimmered with colors that shifted with the angle of light, like molten glass and wet oil. Its wings, though half-folded and bruised, were unmistakably those of a dragon. The settlers had heard rumors of them. Some claimed alien dragons prowled the mountain ranges of distant planets. Others said they were just old Earth legends given new life by space-drunk miners. But this one was real, bleeding and whimpering like a lost pup. Jed slid from his saddle, knelt down, and tipped back his hat. "Well, ain't you a sight?" he muttered. The Dragonling blinked up at him with golden, intelligent eyes and then, against all logic, spoke. "You are human," it said, voice sharp and quick like bells struck in storm. "Help me before hunters return." Jed nearly dropped his canteen. "You talk." "Yes," the Dragonling wheezed, "and I will keep talking, always. I do not stop." Jed's brows knit. Great. A chatterbox. Still, he couldn't just leave it there. He cut the vines with his plasma knife, hoisted the surprisingly heavy little beast over his shoulder, and carried it back to his grav horse. By the time he rode into town, he was already regretting it. The Dragonling had talked the whole ride. About the stars, about its brood, about how human leather boots looked inefficient for climbing volcanic cliffs. Jed groaned. "Kid, if I'd wanted conversation, I'd have gone to the saloon." But deep down, he knew one thing. He couldn't abandon it. The next week was chaos. The Dragonling, who insisted his name was Christian Valor the Clutch Eternal, but allowed Jed to shorten it to Krish, stayed with him on the ranch. And true to its word, it never stopped talking. Krish said one morning, perched on a fence post, wings folded awkwardly, "Why do humans ride beasts when you have machines? Grav cars are faster." "Tradition," Jed grunted, tossing feed. "Tradition is inefficient. If efficiency is not prized, then what is?" "Style," Jed shot back. The Dragonling tilted its head. "Your style is dusty." Jed cursed under his breath. But for all the noise, Krish grew stronger. Within days, the bruises faded, and the little Dragonling could trot after Jed, wings fluttering. Word spread fast across New Texas. Soon, the whole county was buzzing. Callahan had an alien dragon, and he was bringing it to the grand solar rodeo. The rodeo wasn't just a sport. It was the biggest event of the year, where cowboys from across the stars came to prove their grit. Bronco riding on genetically enhanced bulls, plasma lasso contests, speed roping on jet bikes, you name it. To win, there was to earn a reputation that lasted a lifetime. But nobody had ever brought an alien Dragonling. "You're mad," Sheriff Tilda warned him as she leaned against her cruiser, spitting dust from her teeth. "Folks think you've lost it. Or worse, they'll try to take it from you. Word is, corporations pay fortunes for alien specimens." Jed tipped his hat. "Then I'd best ride hard and keep my plasma ready." Krish, of course, butted in. "I want to go. Your rodeo sounds inefficient, dangerous, and loud. It will be excellent." Jed rubbed his temples. "Kid, you don't even know what a rodeo is." "I know it is spectacle," Krish replied. "And dragons were made for spectacle. And so the decision was made. The rodeo ground shimmered beneath twin suns, banners snapping in the wind. Crowds filled the metal bleachers. Vendors shouted about fried corn, and the announcer's voice boomed over speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grand Solar Rodeo. When Jed rode out, dust curling around his boots, he had Krish perched on the saddle. Gasps rolled through the crowd. The Dragonling flared its wings and, predictably, began talking immediately. Hello, humans. I am Christian Valor, the Clutch Eternal, saved by Jed Callahan, who is dusty but honorable. The crowd erupted in laughter. Some cheered. Others jeered. Jed groaned, muttering, "Can't take you anywhere." The events began. First was a bronco ride. Instead of bull, Jed climbed onto a snorting bioengineered beast with steel horns and plasma sparks flicking from its nostrils. Krish insisted on riding with him. This is illogical. Krish chattered as the gates flew open, but exhilarating. The bronco bucked like a storm, tossing them high. Jed held with one hand, the other gripping his hat. Krish, clinging to the saddle, narrated the entire ride. We are airborne. We are descending. Jed, your grip strength is admirable, but your posture is slouching. The crowd roared. Jed held on for the full 8 seconds, crashing into the dirt at the end. The scoreboard lit up. High score. Next was the lasso event. Jed twirled his plasma rope, catching Metcalves in dazzling loops. Krish flapped his wings and shouted commentary the entire time. He missed one, but only slightly. Applause is warranted. By the time night fell, Jed had become the unexpected star. Not because of his skill, but because of his partner who simply wouldn't shut up. But not everyone was amused. In the shadows of the bleachers, men in black coats whispered. Corporate hunters, the kind who captured rare alien species for profit. And they'd just seen the rarest prize of all. Climax. It happened during the final event. The freestyle showcase. Cowboys brought their wildest tricks, hoping to impress the judges. Jed had planned a simple display. Ride hard, crack the plasma whip, maybe let Krish flap his wings to show. But the hunters struck first. A net cannon boomed, wrapping Krish in electrified mesh. The Dragonling screeched, wings thrashing. Jed, this is unacceptable. I do not consent to abduction. The crowd screamed as masked men rushed the arena. Jed drew his plasma pistol in a flash, firing bolts that sizzled into the dirt at their feet. Back off, he roared. The hunters didn't listen. They wanted the dragon, not the cowboy. Krish, tangled but still talking, shouted instructions. Jed, strike the generator box left of the platform. The net runs on cyclical energy pulses. Interrupt them. Jed fired where Krish directed. Sparks exploded, and the net fizzled out. The Dragonling burst free, eyes blazing like molten suns. For the first time all day, Krish went silent. Then, with a deafening roar, he spread his wings and blasted a cone of shimmering plasma fire into the sky. The crowd gasped in awe. The hunters stumbled back, blinded by light. Jed swung into the saddle. Come on, kids, showtime. Together, they charged. Krish swooped low, clawing at nets, snapping ropes. Jed's pistol cracked with precise shots, driving the hunters into retreat. By the time the dust cleared, the arena stood silent except for the crowd's deafening cheers. The announcer's voice cracked. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what we just witnessed, but I reckon Jed Callahan and his dragon stole the show. Ending. After the rodeo, offers flooded in. Corporations wanted to buy Krish. Promoters wanted to sign Jed for tours across the colonies. Jed shook his head at every one of them. Ain't for sale. He's family now. Krish puffed his chest. Correct. I am Christian Valor, the Clutch Eternal, and Jed Callahan is my herd. The two became inseparable legends. Wherever Jed rode, the Dragonling followed, still talking, always talking, but now the chatter was a comfort rather than a nuisance. Some nights, under the twin moons, Jed would sit by the fire as Krish rambled about the stars, alien philosophies, or why humans insisted on eating beans so often. Jed would only smile, sip his whiskey, and let the kid talk, because he knew he'd saved more than just a creature in that canyon. He'd found a partner, loud, loyal, and destined to change the frontier forever. And so, the tale spread across New Texas and beyond. The cowboy and his talking dragon. The rodeo they nearly lost. And the bond between man and beast that no corporation, no hunter, no silence could ever break.